Okay, so let's start with the general board of business. Uh, Megan and I were counting as people entered the room, and it does sound like we have a quorum. Anybody wants to check again just to make sure? I think we're good. And give myself a little bit more space here. And then going to ask if there are any requested revisions to the agenda. And then is there a motion?
The only thing I see is we won't be approving the social media policy that I've already made mention to you there, Gail. But,
yep.
So are we going to look at it, or we're not even going to look at it today?
Well, we only have 5 minutes, so
okay.
Yeah, I'll talk about it here in a second. But.
Got it.
Okay.
Fortunately, that's a longer conversation. It took Helen and I an hour just to go through the comments that we had. So.
Yeah, and honestly, it's a great effort, and it's a huge topic, I think, and especially since we've never done it. So I'm just going to strike through the approve, and then when we get there, you can bring everybody up to speed. Is that okay, Jeff?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, and then if somebody would like to make a motion to approve the October 15th, 2024 meeting minutes.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes from last month.
I was actually wondering if I must have missed that email because I was looking for those, and I apologize that I didn't take a look at those, but obviously you guys saw them, so they went out. I'll go find those. Okay.
I'll forward them to you.
Thank you very much.
Jeff, did you say that you would make the motion?
Yeah, I'll make a motion to approve the minutes.
Is there anybody to second that motion?
I'll second him. This is Mike.
I got
Thank
it.
you, Mike. Excellent. So
I am recording minutes for Hillary, in case anyone was wondering.
Thank you. So the meeting minutes for October 15th, 2024 have been approved. So we will move on down the agenda.
Did you want to take a quick vote there, Gail, just for the record?
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes. Can we take a vote? Everybody in favor, say aye.
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 Anybody opposed, say nay. They are passed. Thank you. Keep me in line too. I lose track of the correct order that we need to do things. So if there's nothing else about the meeting minutes, then we will move on to the next agenda item, which is the Magip social media policy.
Yeah.
We won't be approving it today, and Jeff, I'll give you the floor.
Yeah, so Helen and I met yesterday for an hour just to go over the comments that Hillary had made, at least, and I think Gail has made comments since then. But I'll put a link in the chat again, but we would like, or maybe I'll just send it out afterwards, just that way it's an email. We'd like everyone to take a look at it again, or those that haven't made comments of it, please mark it up with your comments. And Helen and I would actually like to request one or two other people that would like to join on the review. We would like to meet one or two more times, probably depending on how many times we have to go through this, but probably one time is more necessary to kind of go through the next round of comments. So
yeah, and I would agree with that. It's an important, document kind of policy that we're going to put out there. So I really want everybody to take that time to put eyes on it. And a small, I think Jeff and I were talking maybe about like a social media committee, which apparently he had created one or started one back a few years ago. So the two of us are happy to kind of lead that charge. And we would love to have maybe 1 to 2 more people to join that effort, collaborate on some of the language and make sure that we're all on the same page with the social media policy.
I actually would like to be a part of that. When you're ready to schedule that,
okay.
Please include me. Yeah, I think again, I said this in our emails back and forth, but I think that this is probably going to be one of the most important policy changes that we have this year. It's been social media is new and we don't have any clear guidance for it. So I think it's a really important document.
Yeah, well, and since Hillary's not here, I'll ask her if she wants to join as well. But so yeah,
She had some really thoughtful and valuable
Yes.
feedback that I think was very relevant to like discuss. I'm glad you're going to jump in, Gail. I think that'll be perfect.
Yeah, was there anything specific about the comments that you would like to bring up today, Jeff or Helen? I know that there were a couple comments on the document that were really important, and maybe having other people weigh in right now would be relevant.
I mean, I think because of the time, I don't think we probably should get into
Okay.
it. But
Okay.
but yeah, I think I'll send out an email again to everyone with the link to the draft document, just to kind of go through it when you have some time. And it's a couple pages long, but it's a good read.
I have one
Yeah.
other question before we move on to the next topic. Helen, I heard you jump in there just really quick. I know that going through the document, Hillary had made her comments. Helen, you had made your comments. I made my comments. Is it possible to get it to like a draft 2 so that we start on the next iteration with a cleaner draft? Or do you want to just go from where you are? I'm up for either one.
Yeah, we can do a draft 2. I thought some of Hillary's comments were very relevant and kind of worthy of some discussion, maybe not just like changing it in the text. So
Okay.
Jeff and I did already like do some editing and address a number of comments. And some of the ones we left in there were ones where we wanted to like bounce ideas off somebody or maybe get some further input from Hillary on clarification on a couple of them. And some of them are really relevant for a larger discussion. So that we kind of like left in the comments that
Okay.
I think were important to revisit.
Okay, that
So
sounds
maybe
great.
draft 2 a little later. Sorry, that was a winded way of saying that.
No, just exactly what I wanted to know. Okay. Anybody else have any additional comments regarding the social media policy? Anybody else interested in being on the subcommittee for that? Just let us know, Jeff and Helen. Okay, there's no additional comments. We'll move on to the geospatial information plan. And I actually put this on the agenda. I saw that you talked about it at the last Magip board meeting. I would like to add some additional information here and also maybe have Eric jump in, although I think we have an update from him later. So the geospatial information plan is in draft form now, and Aaron Fashway has requested that the board put eyes on it. And I think that's a great idea. But I also think that it reaches beyond the Mega Board of Directors. So I would like to suggest that we form a special interest group that is just for the purposes of going through this. And I've never done this before, so I'd be looking for guidance from others that are on the call about what we would need to do if there's anything formal that we need to do to establish this SIG, knowing that it will be ending. And this is Eric, where I would ask you to provide feedback on the dates. We talked about it on the MGAC meeting. I feel like the review process is through January. Is that correct? You're on mute.
Yeah, that's what I recall. I think it was as you were talking, I was listening, and I was trying to find where I had all this stuff posted as well. So, yeah, so January business meeting, oh, darn it. Give me some minute. Keep
Okay.
talking. I'm going to do some searching. I could have sworn she had some meeting dates set up regarding the update of this as well. I just kind of rely on them to send out the appointments, and I just pop them on my calendar and show up. So hold on.
Perfect. Yeah. So this is where I would be interested in getting some guidance, maybe from Jeff and Mike, who have been on the board, maybe Megan a little bit longer. Rob, you're here too. Welcome. Regarding the formation of a special interest group. So I feel like this is worthy of social media coverage. I just would like some feedback.
I personally think that this shouldn't be a special interest group, particularly
Okay.
knowing that this is going to be, there's going to be a end date for it. You know,
Okay.
it sounds more like a task force more than anything. But I could be
Okay.
wrong there. But I mean, we have, you know, a great example of the local government SIG. You know,
Mhm.
and that's I think that's a good use of a SIG. There's really no
Okay.
clear end date for it, and it serves a purpose. Now, this would serve a purpose, but it's more of a short-term purpose. So I would say more of a task force, similar to what we did with reviewing the membership dues. So
Thank you, Jeff. That's what I was looking for. So I would like to make a motion that we create a short-term task force that would include reviewing the geospatial information plan and providing that feedback back to Aaron Fashway.
Why
Is
don't
there
you want the
anybody that-
board to look at it?
Oh, no, I absolutely would like the board to look at it. But I also think it's bigger than that.
Hey, Gail, Rob here.
Hi, Rob.
I think, yeah, I think it is very considerate of you to see that this is maybe a broader issue. Now, I have maybe a alternative view or approach potentially. Think about it. So because anything you do, somebody's going to have to manage it, right?
Yep.
So if you want to take on another project, go for it. But what I'm thinking, we're doing this as a service to MLIAC or to MLIAC. And why don't we, another way to do it potentially is to host the document somewhere, or maybe the documents available through the MLIAC organization, and have our members look at it and comment. We don't have to touch any of it. Let our members review and provide feedback. You know, otherwise, you know, you're hosting meetings, you're corralling comments and bringing them back. That seems like a lot of work that you don't actually need to do if we just put it out to the members and allow members to make comments directly.
Megan, do we have a place that we could put that document on our website or host it on our Google Docs that would make it available to everybody that our members could make comments?
I think we could. I'm also curious, not having been a part of this yet, or, you know, gone to these MGIA meetings, but if Erin has anything in place where she's soliciting review, just to not create more work for her of having to get comments from various sources. Have you heard?
She has comments on the link Eric sent. There's a form that she has for anybody basically can submit comments. Oh wait, it said by November 12th, so that must be outdated.
That was just for the meeting. That's comments for the
Oh,
meeting.
okay.
That's what I just sent was the meeting material
Oh.
for the council's meeting
Oh,
last
on the
Thursday.
agenda. Okay,
Yeah,
okay.
that
I
was-
misread that. Sorry.
Yeah. You'll see in the agenda for that document, there is a link where you can see her draft outline. And I'm
Uh-huh.
sure there's a point in time through this whole thing that there will be a public comment. I think she was doing this pretty much probably as much as a courtesy to Magip as it was anything else to get, from us in terms of our commentary, because I think at some point in time she would be looking at Magip as being one of those professional organizations that would help with driving the plan, and things like that, and supporting the plan. Because a lot of the plan, and this is kind of a toes into, what I'd be, the report I had is that, that this geospatial information plan is really aligning with the goals of the state library and the base map service center's, strategic plan that they've put in place. And it's the they're hoping that the architecture and the design of it is in support of that strategic plan, and that what they're doing with that kind of supports what happens with this land plan, and then vice versa. What goes on with the land plan is supporting their strategic goals of improving their communication efforts, their data sharing efforts, things like that. So I listened to what Aaron was saying. I don't know if I have the exact answer. I agree with Jeff. Yeah, like I said, a special interest group is something that would be, I think, a long-term thing. I think if you have a group of people here that would be able to focus comments, or focus maybe just be initial people for comments along those lines. But there's also a point that I'm sure, like any state document, it's going to be pushed to the public for any type of commentary. So, whether we host it, and like Rob was saying, I don't know if there's really a need for Magip to host it as much as the state library will host it and make comments. Magip's role is in rolling out the advertising for that through our social media aspects, in return. So, I mean,
I like that, Eric. Rob, does that sound like what you were thinking about?
Yeah, I think our power here is to bring our members to it.
Okay.
Right? We could write a letter, or a communication to our members and articulate it the way that Eric just did, what the intent of this is and the type of information that they're looking for. And we send that to our members. We say, point to a link where it's hosted from Aaron's side, and formulate comments.
I do like that. I'd like to coordinate this a little bit more closely with Aaron. I would like to get everybody's approval for social media. I realize that we haven't gotten to the point where we have our social media policy, but this feels very in line with what Magip should be doing. And I just would informally like to hear how everybody feels about that with regard to social media.
Yeah, and this kind of reminds me of our ongoing conversation about legislation and covering legislation that's going on. This is sort of in that vein, and we're bringing our members' attention to it.
I would agree.
I think it's important to share this with our members so that they can provide feedback on what that, geospatial plan looks like for the future of Montana. I think giving our members that opportunity is really important, and the voice that we have and way to connect with our membership on social media and through our listserv, I think could be a really powerful way to help share our members' vision for what that geospatial, plan and governance looks like in some way. So yeah, I would 100% agree with this, and just working with Jeff on the social media policy, I think this is 100% in line with where we're going on that policy. So yeah, if Erin has a site where it's hosted and even a feedback form, because I would guess she might solicit feedback from others, that we could really share that with our members and help them, have a voice at that table.
Okay. Is there any formal vote that we need to take on this? Does anybody feel like there's any kind of a formal, okay. Jeff?
No, because I don't think we should be creating anything. It's just pushed out to our membership. So
Okay. Hillary, are you here?
No.
Oh,
Oh,
yeah,
Oh,
I just
hey,
joined. Can you hear me?
Hillary.
yeah, welcome. We weren't
Thank
expecting
you.
you to be on the call, so
Yeah, just
welcome.
touched down.
Nice.
Oh my gosh, Hillary, exciting news. We're really hoping you're going to join me, Jeff, and Gail on the new, well, existing but renewed social media committee. Because your comments were so insightful and helpful on that document.
Yeah, sounds good.
Awesome. Okay, so given the comments about the geospatial information plan, and we will not be forming a special interest group, or I don't think even a task force. I will work with Erin. We'll get a document in place, get everything in line with regard to being able to make comments. And Eric, we'll come back to you in just a minute. I want to move on because we're a little bit behind schedule, but I do actually want to move to the next topic if everybody is comfortable with us moving on. Any other comments about the geospatial information plan? Okay, seeing nobody else has additional comments, let's move on to swag. And I do realize that this conversation may be bigger than the time allotted, but if we need to, we can always come back to it. How do we start talking about swag? I know that there were a lot of people that were interested in getting swag for GIS Day, and I truly am sorry that that didn't happen. I would like to make a suggestion, and I'd like feedback from others on the call. The majority of those of us on the call will be attending some kind of a GIS meetup that's funded through requests for assistance from Magip. And I was so hoping that Nate would be on the call today, but I am wondering if we can use those funds, as long as we have receipts to provide back, to purchase items for raffles at the meetups. I feel like that's an appropriate use of those funds, but I would like to hear how everybody else feels about that.
I think my question with swag in general
Mhm.
is what's the point? What do we gain by giving stuff out? You got people at the meetup already, you know. So I'm not opposed to it, right? Don't get me wrong, I'm not opposed to it, and I think some things are great. But in general, we're all adults here. We don't need a Happy Meal to make it happen. Like I'm just wondering, if we could articulate the benefits of giving knickknacks away.
Rob's really getting into the existential meaning of swag here. I honestly think having Magip labeled branded items is a nice reminder to see around. Honestly, I love, well, right now I have my Picket one, but I have at home my little Magip leather, ones of these, and I don't know. I like seeing it because it makes me feel slightly connected and happy. And I like seeing it when people on my team are using their little notebooks for their notes, and having that sort of visual reminder of, organization that we all value and are invested in. So from my perspective, it's a bit of a marketing thing for Magip, I would say, and just a reminder, to people who are out there, they're using a pen or a notebook or whatever, of who we are and what we support and what we do for GIS in Montana.
Yeah, Helen, I think that's a great articulation of that. I kind of agree. Yeah. So maybe there are some standard things, right, that we like to get? Hey, along the lines of the swag thing, maybe since I got a little bit of a voice here at the moment. I've been thinking about the on from the scholarship side of things, right? We don't really have enough money to have a meaningful scholarship, right? It's kind of a token. $1,000, $2,500, whatever, right? Education's expensive these days. We're not funding a student for their whole degree. But so I'm thinking about other ways of other things to include in a package. One of those things I thought would be like a certificate, you know, or maybe it could be a plaque, something of that nature, right? So you get a monetary award, you get a letter, you get an invitation to present, you get a little bit of you get a plaque or a name tag or something. Anyway, I just kind of want to throw that out there. Doesn't have to be right now, but something to think about that we could, you know, also it's sort of a brand thing, right? For the scholarship, the recognition part. So anyway, there it is.
Wow, I love that idea. And it feels like something that probably wouldn't cost a lot, but could be really meaningful to have something that's like a plaque of, put it up in your office later or whatever, something for a student to
Right.
be really proud of. And that's not a huge investment to get a nice looking plaque or something that, really physical representation of the accomplishment.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you for recognizing that. Because like even if you add $1,000 to it, right, that comes and goes and it's gone. You've bought groceries and beer and you'll never think of it again. But
Mhm. Okay. Is there anybody else that has a comment about swag? And I wonder if we could temper the like I would like everybody who would like to make a comment to make a comment. So if there's anybody else that would like to make a comment, Ken, please.
Um, I'm in agreement with Helen too. It's not just marketing, but it's also the way a form of networking. For in my field, we don't have too many tribal GIS users in Magip. And a lot of it's because it's not being advertised. And if we can advertise something like that, that is huge. And also, I do want to chime in. Thanks again, Magic Board, for supporting GIS Day for tomorrow for us. We're actually getting quite a few tribal folks to the one in MSU Billings that are going to attend that. And the reason why I say that because they didn't know what Magic was. So it starts a conversation when you're like, what's Magic? Well, they're GIS professionals. We do this, we do that, we do this. And so there's always something that somebody's has they can relate to, right? There's always some type of topic they can just talk about. And that's why I like that kind of swag stuff. BIA, we do that stuff because it's just huge. And we have a pathway students program. And so we are big advocates for any type of way to reach out to those students. And Matchup is a way. I mean, we're all professionals. So I don't think I agree with Rob that it shouldn't be extreme, but it should be something. We shouldn't be sitting in the back burner, just letting others take take over what we do. So be proud of our Magic members. So
Thank you, Ken. Is there anybody else that would like to make a comment about swag? Helen, I know you really want to. Can you hold off just a minute? Could you hold your comments? Yeah, let's make sure that everybody had the opportunity to speak. Sorry, I know you have a lot to say and I know it's important. Okay, anybody else? Helen's holding her breath. Helen, I'm going to give you the opportunity to speak, and then I actually do have a comment.
Yeah. So like Ken was saying, and maybe from my perspective, I think it's important to just kind of have a supply of swag. And, from my understanding at the last board meeting, we were down to, a few pens and pencils and notebooks. And so I think it's important that we have something for these types of events and then kind of roll. We usually, and we have in the past, and maybe that's what we just had, a stockpile that dwindled. And but having a few of the basic things like notebooks, pens. I love the leather coasters if we can get those again. That type of stuff. I do think it, even though it's small, it's meaningful. It has Magip's name on it. We're doing a little bit of advertising and marketing. So I want to just make sure that we have that available for GS Day events as well as other events and for the conference.
Jeff, you just popped on. Do you have a comment?
Yeah, I guess one of the issues is swag is just getting so much more expensive too. So like what we ordered in 2018 or 2017, it just went further than now. But unfortunately, our budgets are not getting twice as large. So that's probably part of it. And two, we just have had a lot of GIS Day events in the last couple of years too. And like I don't think we purchased swag at all last year. So that's another thing that kind of continues to and if we don't buy another round of it each year or just slowly add to what we have, it can quickly just disappear. So
Thank you. I actually have two comments about the swag. The first one is the budget and being mindful about what line items the swag comes out of. And in January, we do have an in-person meeting scheduled for Bozeman. I'm hoping that everybody's able to attend that. The plan was to have Nate go line by line through the budget. I think when we do that, Michelle has indicated that her budget for the conference is different from the budget for Magip. So let's be mindful of where that line item for swag falls so that we can all make sure that we address this need specifically for swag. The second, I guess I have three comments. The second comment that I have is that in the last year and a half that I've been involved with Magip, and even prior to that, I know that there have been conversations about where we're keeping swag. It's always a big deal. And in the past, we've had swag and it's been sitting in cabinets. And we just want to make sure that we're not doing that. But yep, that's all I'm going to say about that. Like, we have to have a place to store it. So let's also be mindful of that. And then the third comment I would like to make has specifically to do with swag and events. So we've never done this before, and I would say that our GIS Day has it's successful, and I think that is something to celebrate. There are also things that come with being successful that we maybe didn't anticipate. And one of them is swag to give the people that are attending these events, right? And I don't think that any of us, anyway, I couldn't have foreseen that as being something that was necessary that we needed to attend to. I also am very mindful about being fair. There is an element of fairness that I think that we need to pay attention to when we're having these kinds of events. So Hillary, pop in if you have something to provide here because you're the person that's in charge of the Experience Builder page. But I think as of now, we have 6 GIS Day events that are planned.
Yeah, that's correct.
Okay, so what I would like to say is that if we have 6 GIS Day events planned, every group that is sponsoring one of those events should have the opportunity to have access to the same swag. I think in a matter of fairness, that feels right to me. I see your hand, Ken. That's really all I have to say. But I guess I would finish it off by saying that maybe next year we could plan for this and put together a swag bag, right? I mean, we do little bags for the conference, and maybe that's something that if our GIS days are going to be successful and we're going to celebrate that, and if it's important to get our name out there, then let's do it in a fair and equitable way so that everybody has the chance to get the same items. That's all I have to say about it. Ken, go.
I just want to ask the question because GIS Day is an Esri thing, right?
Yeah.
So Esri wants that, and Esri really wants to be supportive. Why can't Magip coordinate with Esri's marketing people and see if they can get free swag?
We actually
And
did
that
this
would help.
year.
We
Is
did
Mike
do
on the
that.
call? Yeah. They're pretty
Yes,
stingy.
yes,
Are they?
we did contact our local Esri people and they did send stuff to Great Falls. I'm not quite, I mean, I'm gonna try to limit this. I agree with you, Gail. Everything should be fair. All these events should have the exact same amount of swag. We have no swag
Right.
to
I
provide
agree.
it. So that is why some people have some more than other people, because we're very limited in what we are doing.
Hey, one thing we could do, again, what the whole idea of the swag is to feel like you're part of something. There's a marketing thing, there's a community thing. This doesn't all have to revolve around material things, right? I think at each event, you should have a sign up list. You know, you put your email and then we can send out a broad email, you know, again, with a thank you and, you know, something of that nature, something that's inclusive and gracious, you know, thank you for your participation. You helped do this. You're an honorary part of the organization, that kind of thing.
Like a certificate of participation, you completed this event or something. Is that what you're thinking?
I mean, if we want to do that,
I
yeah,
like
that
it.
something of that nature, you know, some kind of a follow-up,
Yeah. And then
right?
if people want to print it, then they can. Yeah,
Right.
I
And we
like
have
it.
like, you know, we should maybe, along with this social media policy madness that we're engaging in, you know, we have like letterhead, digital letterhead, right? That has our
Yeah.
logo, our, you know, headquarters address, you know, our website, you know, a link to, you know, become a member kind of thing, right? Because maybe there are people who are joining these GIS days that are not members currently, and they like to know that this is a viable organization. And wow, I maybe want to be part of this. How do I do that? Here's a link.
Exactly. And I think that's a great segue, Robert, because that's what we had with our GIS day here at MSUB. Because Magip did help support, right? But that was it. There was nothing else that said, you know, thanks for joining GIS Day, thanks for anything. Because that's where the college themselves got a little frustrated. Like, hey, there was nothing with what Magip is. I mean, granted that they funded, you know, some of the stuff, but there was nothing like that. And I think that's a great idea. Hey, thank you for joining the GIS Day. Here's a certificate for joining that day.
Yeah.
That's a cool idea.
We have about 2 more minutes to talk about swag. Is there anybody else that would like to make a comment? Jeff, I saw you came up on the screen.
No.
Are you good?
I think
Hillary?
if I can add something really
Excellent.
quick. Yeah, I like that
Yeah.
idea that Ken just had of here's a little info about Magip and why we sponsor GIS Day meetup events. And, you know, that could be a short video that's on the instructions for like the mapathon, for example. Gail, it could be basically like a very short address where you're like, hey, I'm Gail, I'm the president of Magip. We're, you know, proud to sponsor GIS Day, and here's kind of our goals and what we do. Just, you know, like a minute. I think that'd be awesome.
I like it. I do like it. I do appreciate everybody's comments. I think all of them are valid, and I hope that it's given everybody some ideas about how to celebrate GIS Day, which is tomorrow. well done, all of you that have events planned. We're having Cosmic Pizza at the Bozeman Public Library. I hope that Tessa and Helen will be there along with others. We have Gallatin County coming, Belgrade coming, City of Bozeman coming. So it's going to be a great day. All right. So if there are no other comments about swag, we will move on to the next subject. Although I do think that one additional comment that needs to be made about swag is we don't have any swag. So at some point, we're going to have to talk about purchasing that. And I do wonder if that is actually more suited for the conference planning, or do we want to bring it to the next board of director meetings?
Last meeting that we had, we discussed that we were gonna just go with, we're gonna wait till after GIS day till everything pans out and stuff, and then we were gonna hold another, whoever wants to attend meeting to talk about swag. So I guess an ad hoc / task force / whatever you wanna call it meeting.
I like that. I really appreciate that. So there will be an ad hoc meeting that we will talk about swag. I would ask that we give everybody a week to be able to respond to joining that meeting. That would be my one request about that. Anything else?
I would just like to make sure that we stay within the budget, right?
Yeah.
I mean, we spent time reviewing and formulating a budget, and, I just, we should honor that, not create new items to pull here and there.
Thank you, Rob. And I guess the other thing, going back to the meeting that we're having in January, that's going to be the line by line. Nate will be able to identify exactly how much we have available to spend on swag, and that will be within the conference budget than within the Magip budget. So we'll get more information about that. We will have an ad hoc meeting and we will order swag. And at that meeting, I think we can make decisions about where that swag will be stored.
Well, that's fine. The swag budget was combined with the conference budget. We have $2,000 in there for it.
Yeah.
Rob, you're right. We can't go over that. We need to be within the $2,000. When did we decide that we were gonna have a budget meeting in January?
We talked about that during our in-person meeting and
But
our
that's only
strategic
3
planning
months.
meeting. Mhm.
That's only like 3 or 4 months since we talked about the budget the last time.
Well, so we talked about having Nate do a presentation that's a line by line, and that will be part of the in-person meeting.
We talked
Okay.
about, didn't we go line by line at the strategic
Yeah.
planning meeting and approve that $2,000 for swag?
That's what I was under the impression of. I don't know why we're going through the budget line by line again, but I mean, if that's what we all discussed, then I must have missed that.
Yeah, and I think that part of it was because Jackson wasn't able to be a part of that.
Well, it's there for review, right?
Yeah. Well, and the agenda isn't set yet, so that if we need to change that, we certainly can make modifications to what we're going to be talking about. And I don't want to push things along. We're a little bit over time, and I just want to be mindful of everybody's time. If there are no additional comments about swag, I'd like to move to the next agenda item. If everybody's okay about that. Yeah. Okay. Okay, so knowing that there's going to be another meeting coming on regarding swag, we're going to move to the next agenda item, which is the request for assistance and about designating a point person, or whether or not it's working the way it is set up now. Nate is actually not on the call, and Michelle is not on the call. I do wonder if we maybe should move on and save this for our next Magip meeting unless there are some here that have comments.
I think the only thing I'd say now, and yeah, Hillary, feel free to jump in here too. We did set up a potential survey 123 that could be used for getting reimbursed. So afterwards, for sending in your receipts and sending in your guest list and any photos. So we're going to try and implement that. And right now with the new survey 123, I think we can set it up for different people to get that email. So there are some options.
That's super cool. I guess my one comment on this is I don't think it's our responsibility to chase people that requested assistance to have them get us their documentation. And I mean, I think that if somebody took the time to reach out to us to request assistance, it's also on them to get us the documentation for them to be reimbursed. And
definitely, but just trying
yeah.
to make it easier for Nate to
Yep.
have all the documents in one place instead of his inbox full of random things.
Oh, I got it. I got it. That makes sense. I appreciate that. I felt like Nate was feeling a responsibility to go reach out to somebody specifically about getting those documents. And I just honestly don't feel like that we need to do that. But
No.
I do like the idea of having it all in one place.
But yeah,
Like
I
he
think
doesn't
we need to
it.
have clear instructions of you requested assistance, this is how you get reimbursed. And we can put that on our website. And
Okay.
when somebody requests things, they'll know. And then hopefully they can just click on that link and submit things.
Well, I
Just to
do
try
have to
and
say it's so
streamline
much
that a
easier than
bit.
it used to be.
And I have been adding that survey 123 when I respond to any requests. And I've also
Nice.
been just CCing Nate on everything too. And I think I read that in the request for assistance policy. So that's basically what I've been doing, just responding, CCing Nate, and then giving instructions and links.
That's awesome. Okay, any other comments about the request for assistance and the process for that, the designated person? Anything else? Okay, if there's no other comments, I'm just going to give you an update really quick. This will take less than a minute, merging of all the lists. So Michelle actually wasn't able to be here today, and she has said that she's making progress on that. Hillary, is Michelle working with you on that, or Megan, or one of you guys?
No, not me.
Okay. Okay, I got the
She hasn't
impression that
reached
she
out
was
to me yet either.
Okay. Okay, so the update from Michelle was that she's working on it and that she's going to be getting all of those lists. Oh, I guess Helen, you would be the other person that she might be working on. Has she reached out to you at all?
No, she has not. And actually, you guys, I have somebody that I got to meet up with here in 5 minutes who's calling me. So I apologize. I'm just going to answer my phone, but I'm still listening.
Okay, no, that's okay. That's okay. Thanks for being here. All right. If there's no other comments about the merging of all the lists, just know that Michelle is working on it and she'll have an update for us at our next meeting. Okay, the MGAC update. Eric, I hate to do this to you. We've gone a little long with our other comments. I know, right? Fast. No, I'm just kidding.
I'll recover.
Okay.
I'll get over it. So, and quite honestly, the MGAC, the council meeting materials that I sent in the meeting chat, that URL, honestly, you just click on the agenda, the first line item, and you can basically see everything that was talked about right there and then. The only action item was approving the meeting dates that are noted in that online in the agenda. The agenda has hyperlinks to everything that was talked about. So you could see the theme stewards, the MSDI theme stewardships, and the stewardships and their leads, the training. Those groups, those folks are meeting later this week, actually. to discuss training and what their path towards keeping their what their expectations or setting expectations for theme, lead, and stewardship of those data sets, improving it, the data governance, all that type of stuff. Another link shows the draft outline of the plan as it is right now. And then there's the standing reports that the council always gets already in the agenda. You'll see the links. You'll see the fiscal year 2025 first quarter fiscal report. And then you'll also see a really nice dashboard. I really appreciate the state library putting this dashboard together because it supports me when I visit with our fiscal officer here at the county to let them know, hey, this is what we should have in that account for future funding, future grants, etc. And then, of course, Aaron's coordinator report and the work that they've been doing. You'll see there that the state library and staff have been very busy with outreach and attending events to promote those themes, those data needs, and GIS in general. So, yeah, that was everything. I could just quickly just say, just go to that agenda and click on the links and you'll have my report. There you go. So I should have just said that and just stopped talking. So
no, that's great. Thank you, Eric. Does anybody have any questions for Eric? Okay, thank you. I cannot actually believe that we're back on time. We're just slightly over time. And I have on the agenda the letters to other organizations. I have seen that there's been some comments about some letters that have been written. Mike, I believe that you were involved in that. Helen, Rob, Hillary, tell me.
Yep. Yeah, we wrote those letters back in September is when we started, and I think we agreed that we would approve them here. So
Okay.
where
Yep.
are we at with that?
Yep, I agree. I mean, I used one for the MAP conference because I was looking to have something when I went to that conference, and Helen and Rob were able to help me out with that, as my letter was generic compared to what the way they were writing it, which was awesome. And I really like their letters, and I would move to approve them, and so that we can start using them.
Can I ask one question before we make the move to approve them? And this was actually brought up a little bit earlier, and that was the idea of an official letterhead. Does Magip have an official letterhead?
We do. I think it's in the Google Drive, and since I've been like organizing things, I'm familiar with where it is, but it's in like the main page under logos and letterheads.
Awesome. And are those letters on our official letterhead?
Not necessarily. It's just the text that we're talking about. We can do the formatting and stuff
Okay.
like that. And I think, yeah, it's a great idea. Our communications should all be on our letterhead.
I love that so much. I love a nice header.
I'm on board with that. All right. So would somebody like to make a motion to approve the letters to other organizations?
I thought I did.
Is there
Okay,
somebody that would like to second that?
I'll second it.
Okay. Everybody that is in favor, say aye.
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 Anybody opposed, say nay. Okay, it's approved. All right. I don't think we have ever ended 1 minute before, but I do believe
We're
that
not quite
two
done.
things.
Oh no, what did I forget?
Go,
So,
Hillary.
First thing,
Hillary.
talking about the letters, I found this Excel that Megan had put together in 2014, and it lists a bunch of potential partnerships. And I think that would be a good jumping off point for who we actually want to send these letters to.
Awesome.
I love that. Should we talk about that at our next official board meeting?
Yeah, and maybe anybody who wants to add to them in the meantime can do that or update the information.
Yeah. Hey, maybe Hillary, if we could get that list distributed, we could look at it before the next board meeting, and then maybe at the next board meeting, we could approve it. Does that sound reasonable? Because otherwise we're 2 months down the road.
Megan just sent it in the chat.
If it'll work, but we can put it in an email too.
It
Could
worked.
we put it in an email? I actually don't have, I honestly, I never go back to the chats for the meetings.
It'll be in
not
the
even
meeting minutes too, but yeah,
That's
another
that's
email.
perfect.
We love
Meeting minutes
emails.
are perfect. You don't have to put it in another email. If it's in the meeting minutes, I can access it there. That sounds
And
great.
it's in the same folder as the letters. So they're all together.
Sweet.
Great.
The other thing before we close, we have to approve all the GIS days.
Oh,
Well,
right.
just the ones that we didn't approve last meeting. So there's,
Right.
I think there's like 3 or 4 yet, or 3 of them yet that we have to approve.
Yeah, I think there's 4.
4, okay.
Hillary, can you tell us what those 4 are?
Yes, I think I should go look for sure, but I think they are Missoula, Great Falls,
And the 2 Bozeman,
Bozeman,
right?
and Bozeman. Yeah.
Exactly.
Okay, so somebody has made a motion.
I can second.
Thank you.
Did we give
All in
Hillary
favor,
the
say aye.
motion or was that somebody else?
Do I need to first? I can make a motion to approve the remaining GIS day events.
Thanks.
I'll second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed, say nay. Awesome. All right.
Thanks for bringing
Passes
that up, Hillary.
unanimously. Yeah, thank you, Hillary.
Okay,
Right.
everybody, I gotta drop
So,
here. I
yeah,
got
thank
someone
you,
calling me
Helen.
back. Thanks,
Motion
everyone.
to
Good night.
adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Second. Okay, bye.
Megan, this
All
is
in favor,
Rob. Could
say
you stay
aye.
on for a second? I got a question for you.
For who?
Can we
Megan.
stop?
Okay.